You're tired, but not in the way a nap or a weekend off can fix. It's a different kind of tired, a heaviness you carry every day, one you can't quite name. Most people don't talk about it. They just keep themselves busy. Work, social media, hookups, the gym, hustling for success. Whatever keeps them from being alone with that quiet ache that creeps in during the still moments. The early hours, the silent nights. You feel it too, that inner scream when the world gets quiet. And you do everything you can not to hear it. Because if you really listened, if you dared to face it, you might realize something that would shatter you. You don't know who you are. You've spent your life chasing things that were never yours, desires you borrowed, goals that were handed to you, achievements that feel hollow, applause that left you emptier than before, and there's a poison in that. Let's go straight into the discomfort. You might not want to hear this, but deep down, a part of you already knows. Something inside you is rotting. It's not your body, not even your mind. It's your soul, the part of you that's been chained to a craving you never really understood. Because the thing you call pleasure, that rush you chase through sex, control, attention, it's not what you think. You know this. You know it because right after the climax, the emptiness returns. You know it because every connection leaves behind a bigger void. You try to fill it with more bodies, more attention, more noise, but it never works. That's because what's haunting you is truth, a truth you've never stopped long enough to look at. You've been searching outside yourself for something that only lives within. You call it desire, but you don't really understand what that word means. And if you did, if you truly grasped the weight and depth of male desire, you'd stop playing with it like it's a toy. This thing inside you, it's not a mere impulse. It's a force, ancient, raw, potent, a current running through your veins that, if left unchanneled, will consume you from the inside out. But no one ever taught you this. You grew up in a world that feared your fire. They told you to suppress it, hide it, bury it beneath politeness, aggression, performance. They gave you tools to control it, but never to understand it, never to honor it. And that's why you're fractured. Because every time you tried to run from your own core, you told yourself you were moving forward. Every relationship where you disappeared into someone else, every woman you tried to conquer, every time you sought out a gaze to validate you, it was just another failed attempt to plug a hole you couldn't even locate. This video isn't here to comfort you. It's here to strip away your illusions, one mask at a time, until all that's left is the raw, unfiltered version of you. Because what you think of as desire, that ache, that hunger, it's not about sex. It's not even about the body. It's a cry from your soul. It's saying, see me, connect, transcend. But you don't hear that. All you hear is the urgency, the craving, the itch, and you chase it, hoping each orgasm will be the key to heaven. But every time, it just opens a door to more emptiness. Carl Jung said it best. Desire is a projection. You don't actually crave that person. You crave what you think they can give you. You don't want their body. You want to reclaim a lost part of yourself, a piece that slipped away when you forgot who you are. That's the part no one talks about. When your desire is misunderstood, it doesn't bring life. It brings death, the slow kind, the kind you don't notice until it's everywhere. Death of purpose, death of creativity, death of personal power. Because every time you give your desire away, every time you seek to discharge instead of transform, you're scattering yourself. You're leaking energy. And eventually, you don't even recognize the man in the mirror. Just a flicker, a ghost. And worst of all, you adapt. You get used to the numbness, to the performative sex, to begging for attention like scraps. You normalize betrayal, not of others, but of yourself. And here's the painful truth. No one's coming to save you. No one is going to restore the part of you you gave away. No one is going to honor your desire until you do. It starts with you. It always has. You have the power to transmute this wild force into something sacred. But you don't do that by denying it. Not through guilt, not through repression, not through half-hearted celibacy. You do it through alchemy, through conscious transformation. By making one radical choice, stop using your desire to escape. Start using it to build. This isn't just another motivational pep talk. This is a doorway. If you step through it, you'll never see the world the same. You'll finally see how your energy was hijacked by a system that thrives on your numbness. A system that wants you distracted, addicted, obedient. But you'll also see something else, something powerful, the seed of your true energy, the kind that isn't defined by validation, the kind that isn't addicted to attention, the kind that comes from knowing your worth, not proving it. This is the path of the sovereign lover, the man who doesn't chase bodies because he's already found a soul, the man who doesn't fear desire because he's learned to ride it like a dragon, not to tame it, but to fly with it. And no, it's not easy. It's painful, lonely, intense, but it's the only path worth walking. You can shut this video off now and go back to the surface. The games, the swipes, the shallow victories. Or you can stay and face the thing that's been calling you for years. Your desire isn't your enemy. It's your compass. The only question left is this: will you keep using it to unlock everyone else's door? Or will you finally use it to open your own? Then something strange starts to happen. You begin seeing your desire through a new lens. You stop labeling it as a weakness, a curse, a problem to fix, and start treating it as a sacred signal. And when you do that, your whole reality begins to shake. Because the world you built, the people, the conversations, the habits, was based on a lie, a misunderstanding. Now everything feels off. The people around you don't resonate like they used to. Conversations that once felt normal now feel hollow. Games of conquest that once gave you confidence now feel desperate and small. It hits you like a wave. You weren't just misunderstanding desire, you were misunderstanding yourself. Why? Because from a young age you were taught to impress before you connected, to seduce before you felt, to perform before you even understood what it meant to be. You built a mask, one that looked impressive, confident, charming, even magnetic. But underneath that armor was fear. Fear of being seen, not the version you show people, the real you, the one that doesn't know all the answers, the one that still aches, the one that just wants to be held, understood, accepted, without needing to earn it. Being wanted for who you pretend to be? That's easy. Being loved for who you actually are? That takes a kind of vulnerability that terrifies most men. That's where this journey leads, into radical vulnerability. Not the fake kind, crying on social media to look deep. I'm talking about the raw kind, the kind that strips away the armor you built to protect yourself from rejection. The kind that says, here I am, this is all of me, and I'm not hiding anymore. Most men never get there. They get stuck playing roles. It's easier to learn the tactics of attraction than to look in the mirror and admit your charisma is just a coping mechanism. Easier to scroll for validation than to sit in stillness. Easier to follow a script than to live a meaningful life. But if you're still watching, if something in you hasn't clicked away, then you're ready to go deeper. Here's something crucial you need to know. Misguided desire doesn't just break relationships. It drains your life force. It makes you a slave. And that slavery has a name: fragmentation. You fragment yourself every time you split your actions from your emotions, every time you chase sex without presence, every time you fake interest to feed your ego, every time you ignore your intuition for the sake of fleeting approval. And the worst part, fragmentation doesn't scream, it whispers. You keep functioning, keep showing up, keep connecting, but deep inside something dies a little more each day until you reach that moment where nothing excites you, where pleasure becomes numbing, where you need more stimulation just to feel less. That's the threshold, the breaking point. It's where the mask starts to crack and you realize you've been living someone else's life. So how do you cross that invisible line? With one sacred act: surrender. But not the surrender of giving up. This isn't about defeat. It's the surrender of truth. The kind of surrender that says, I'm done running. Because here's the reality. Your desire was never meant to be a call to consume. It's a call to create. Create beauty. Create meaning. Create presence. Create purpose. Desire is the energy behind a masterpiece, behind revolutions, behind legacies. But most men, they don't create. They discharge. And discharging doesn't change anything. It just leaves you emptier than before. Your desire doesn't need to be controlled. It needs to be cultivated, directed, transformed into art, into love, into legacy. That's what conscious men do. They don't chase fleeting orgasms. They pursue deep ecstasy. And no, I'm not just talking about sex. I'm talking about the ecstasy of being alive, the ecstasy of presence, the power of speaking from your core, looking someone in the eyes without hiding, walking through the world without needing to prove anything, because you've become your proof. That's the sovereign lover, not a seducer, not a showman, a source. And now we arrive at something almost everyone overlooks, the body. You've been so busy trying to look attractive, build muscle, improve your image, that you forgot about the actual temple. Desire lives in the body, and not just in the genitals. It lives in your breath, in your posture, in your voice, in your presence. If your body is tense, rigid, disconnected, your desire will be anxious, awkward, desperate. But when your body's grounded, relaxed, fully inhabited, desire becomes magnetism. Want to be truly attractive? Stop trying to impress. Start living in your body. Because real desire doesn't come from showcasing. It comes from being. And you can't fake being. You train it with silence, with breath, with presence, with patience. Because the more you learn to hold desire without needing to release it, the more powerful you become. That's not control. That's transmutation. That energy, it's not just sexual. It's creative. It's spiritual. It's directional. And here's what most people never tell you. Sexual energy isn't just for partners. It's energy for purpose. If you can hold it, you can direct it into your work, your art, your mission, your movement. And then, that's when the alchemy kicks in. Desire stops being something you waste and starts becoming something you build with. That's the difference between the ordinary man and the awakened man. The ordinary man spends his desire. The awakened man invests it. So here's the real question. Are you still chasing pleasure that vanishes in seconds? Or are you finally ready to hold the fire that could transform your entire life? Because you know this. Deep inside, you know. Your desire is speaking to you. The only question that matters now is, will you keep ignoring it, or will you finally listen? If you choose to listen, truly listen, everything changes. Because that desire you've tried so hard to suppress, numb, or discharge, it was never the enemy. It was a compass, a guide, a sacred reminder of what you came here to be. And if you accept that, if you really decide to follow where it leads, then get ready. Because the journey ahead, it's not soft, it's not comfortable, but it's real. And sometimes, the only thing standing between the life you're living and the life that's waiting is the courage to stop looking outward and start burning inward. And when that fire inside you finally ignites, not for distraction, not for conquest, but for truth, something incredible happens. You realize desire was never the final destination. It was the doorway. Because beneath that impulse you feared was a deeper hunger, not for sex, not for attention, not for success, for direction. Not goals imposed by society, not empty to-do lists dictated by culture. I'm talking about real direction, a soul-aligned purpose, a center that holds steady when everything else crumbles. Have you felt it? That restlessness, where no matter what you achieve, something inside still feels unsatisfied? It's not a mistake. You were never taught to live with purpose. You were trained to perform, to produce, to win, be efficient, be impressive, make money, climb fast. But no one ever said, find your inner axis, know your fire, be the master of your own energy. And now comes the twist, the brutal one. Purpose isn't something you find. It's something that's revealed when you stop distracting yourself. And do you know the most ancient and addictive distraction of all? Conquest. The eternal game of chasing women, chasing status, chasing control. The tireless hunter who never once realized his greatest loss was never learning how to hunt within. Because here's the paradox. You can have all the power in the world and still be a slave to your wounds, a slave to your ego, a slave to your unresolved past. And that brings us into deeper waters. The wound. Beneath every compulsive desire is a hidden pain. Not being seen, not feeling enough, having to earn love through performance. And if that pain goes unhealed, it doesn't just sit quietly. It seeps into everything. It contaminates your relationships. It turns your desire into hunger for approval. It transforms sex into addiction to being chosen. It fuels anxiety over rejection. And worst of all, it breeds emotional dependency. Because when that wound is running the show, every connection becomes a silent negotiation. Please give me what I never got. Make me feel worthy. Make me feel like I matter. But you're not here to keep begging for crumbs. You're here to claim your crown. And that crown? It's forged in the darkest place you've been avoiding. The cave. The cave of the father. The cave of rejection. The cave of that echoing emptiness from your childhood. Because in that cave, where it hurts the most, that's where your sovereignty is born. Not in achievement, not in applause, but in your willingness to confront what you fear the most. And when you do, when you enter that darkness without flinching, something long forgotten awakens inside you. The king, not the tyrant. Not the wounded child pretending to be a man. Not the overcompensating macho begging for respect. The real king, the one who observes, the one who chooses, the one who doesn't need, because he already is. And the king doesn't chase sex, he seeks union. He doesn't pursue women, he looks for mirrors. He doesn't crave fans when he walks in truth. But here's the most uncomfortable truth of all. Many men believe they've matured, but they've only aged. They still react like boys in grown bodies. Still beg for love instead of embodying it. Still seek approval instead of building vision. The real revolution is the movement from child to sovereign, from emptiness to source, from seeker to creator. And no, you don't get there by reading one more book, not just by therapy or mantras or retreats. You get there with daily presence. You get there every time you hold the impulse instead of discharging it. Every time you express instead of manipulate. Every time you say, I don't need this to feel whole. That's when your reign begins. And now we have to talk about the part no one wants to face. Loneliness. The path to your center is painfully lonely. Not because you're alone, but because you no longer fit into the old world. Seeing more means losing more. Losing versions of yourself. Losing relationships that fed your mask. Losing desires that no longer define you. But that loneliness, it's not a curse. It's the cradle of your next birth. It's the silence where your real voice is waiting. It's the womb where your next self takes shape, and only when you learn to walk alone. Are you truly ready to walk with someone? So let's get brutally honest. Are you ready to love? Because a lot of people say they want conscious relationships, but they haven't even learned to hold themselves. They still expect the other person to fix them, to complete them, to carry their brokenness. But here's the truth. If you can't be with yourself, you can't be with anyone. Because what you don't transform, you transfer. What you don't heal, you project. And what you reject in yourself, you will punish in others. This is the real power you've had all along. And now that we've walked this far together, I want to offer you something. Our book, The Formula of Awakening, is now available. If you feel that something inside you is waking up, but you don't know where to begin, start here. This isn't just a book. It's a blueprint, a deep initiation into the man you're becoming. Click the link in the pinned comment to get your copy. And now, let's finish strong. This whole video, it's not about domination. It's about choice. The choice to use your desire to hide or to rise. That's the turning point. Because once you see clearly, you can't go back. You can't unknow the truth. You can't blame the world anymore for a disconnection you now recognize as your own. So what will it be? More noise, more scrolling, more escape? Or the bold, terrifying choice to turn desire into devotion? Because that is where the real transformation begins. When the sexual becomes sacred, when the impulse becomes intention, when desire stops spilling and starts building. And that shift, it touches everything: your relationships, your voice, your body, your life. Because the world doesn't shift through ideas, it shifts through embodied energy. And when your energy aligns with your soul, you become unshakable. So don't just hear these words, feel them, breathe with them, let them land. Then do the one thing that changes everything. Stop distracting yourself. Be with yourself. Hold the fire, because that's where it all begins. And this time, for good. When you claim that fire, you'll never walk the same. You'll speak from depth, not performance. You'll look from wholeness, not hunger. You'll lead from presence, not pressure. And that terrifies the world. Because a man lit from within is no longer controllable. He doesn't beg. He doesn't bend. He doesn't break. He's free. And in a society built to keep men small, addicted, distracted, one awakened man is a revolution. And now, you're standing at the edge of that fire. You feel it, don't you? That pulse in your chest, that whisper you can't unhear. Who would I be if I stopped begging for my worth? What would I build if I turned my desire into devotion? What life is waiting for me if I finally stop chasing and start standing still? Here's the secret. The awakened man doesn't chase, he attracts, not with tricks, not with show, with truth. His presence is the proof, his being is the invitation. And you, yes you, can be that man. Not perfect, not polished, real. The one who's been through the mud and turned it into gold. The one who no longer worships idols because he's become a temple. This wasn't a video, it was a mirror, a threshold, a ritual. And if it pierced you, if it shook you, then write the sentence that's been burning in you, the one you've never said aloud. Write it in the comments. That's your revolution. And if you're tired of surface-level noise, of fake motivation, of hollow promises, subscribe. But don't just click. Return, deepen, walk with us. This isn't a channel. It's a rite of passage. And here, only those ready to burn are welcome. See you at the next fire. Or not. Because if you really heard this message, you won't need to hear it again. You'll live it.